Before sharpening can begin, a simple setup of the V-Sharp Extreme is needed. The blade guide is adjustable so that any knife, whether it's a wedge blade or a parallel blade, can remain flat against the guide when pulling the blade through the hone rods. At the very top, just beside the grip, is the blade guide adjustment knob. Hold the knife against the guide with the edge touching the honing rod, adjusting to the left for a wedge blade, or leave it at the factory setting, all the way to the right for parallel blades. To better help in setting the guide, visual aids are located just under the guide adjustment knob. Most knives will be accommodated by using the fourth notch over from the grip. Adjusting the angle. Now that the blade guide has been set, determining the correct angle is next. The V-Sharp Extreme gives you the flexibility of 4 angles from which to choose to accomplish the task at hand. The Extreme comes set from the factory at 25 degrees and can be adjusted from 30 down to 17. Setting the angle is as easy as holding the V-Sharp firmly, putting your thumb under the hone rod, and pushing until it pops out of the guide. Next, put the bottom of the hone rod in the angle of choice, and then snap the top back into the guide. Setting the apex. Setting the apex of the hone rods is crucial in making sure a razor edge is achieved. Located at the bottom on either side of the V-Sharp are apex and spring tension adjustments. The inside knob adjusts the apex, while the outside knob controls how much tension is put on the hone rod. Setting the apex really means adjusting both hone rods so that when your blade is flat against the blade guide, the edge of the knife is following the center line all the way through the sharpening stroke. Turn the inside knob, marked A2, counterclockwise to pull the hone rod away from the blade guide, and clockwise to push it towards the blade guide. Opposites work for the knob marked A1. Determining the original angle is an easy process, and one that should be performed to make sure the edge is being sharpened and the shoulder of the blade is not being thinned. Take the knife that needs to be sharpened and, using a black magic marker, mark the blade down the edge along the outside. The Extreme comes from the factory set at 25 degrees, so let's start there. With the blade pushed against the blade guide, pull the knife through the honing rods in a downward motion. If the magic marker is gone from the edge, that means the knife's original angle is 25 degrees. If the shoulder mark is gone, then the wrong angle was used, and the process needs to be repeated until the correct angle can be determined. Initial sharpening. At this point, the angle has been determined, the apex has been set, and sharpening is ready to begin. All knives that are being sharpened in the Extreme for the very first time will need to go through the initial sharpening stage. Place the knife against the blade guide and, in a sawing motion, push and pull the blade through the honing rods. Do this for 30 to 45 seconds continuously, making sure the blade does not leave the rods on the way up and does not bottom out on the way down. If the blade is extremely dull or the metal is very hard, this could take up to 2 minutes. Finishing the blade. Once the edge has been thinned with the sawing motion, the next step is to finish the edge. Place the knife against the blade guide, starting with the heel of the edge. Pull the knife in a downward motion completely through the rods, almost like slicing a tomato. Do this 10 to 15 strokes. An even keener edge can be achieved with 600 grit hone rods before steeling occurs. The final step. To achieve the perfect edge, the blade must be steeled after sharpening. Out of the box, their steels are attached to the back of the hone rods. Simply pop the hone rods out, flip them over, and snap them back into place in the same angle that the blade was sharpened. With the knife against the blade guide, pull it through in the same motion used to sharpen the blade, another 10 to 15 strokes.